Welcome to the Million Dollar Realtor Podcast, your go-to for real strategies to get more buyers, close more deals, and grow your real estate business. Are you ready? Let's get started. We're live with the Million Dollar Realtor Podcast. I'm your host, Jess, and I'm so excited for everyone coming to hear our next episode. I have a very special guest, Kari from Missouri. I'm so pumped because we're going to dive into a model that everyone has so many questions for, the showing partner model. And this is going to teach you and show you how not to burn out and how to build a bigger business, bring home more money in your pocket, and spend more time with your family. So Kari, thanks for coming on. Take it away. First question, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's really nice to meet you. So yes, my name is Kari Wyrsch. I am based out of Springfield, Missouri. I am with the Grady Real Estate team, and we are with Keller Williams. I have been in the business since 2005. Got my license in 2007. Was an individual agent. Got my broker's license in 2010. Was an individual agent. Moved over to Keller Williams in 2012. And really just kind of plugged into a lot of the systems and models that they have there. I think at that time had done 12 transactions for that year in 2011. And I just started growing my business and building my business. So I ended up being the top individual agent in our market center in 2013, 14, and 16. I had twins in 2015. And I got my first coach in 2015 as well, because I was like, what's going to happen? Are they going to put me on bed rest? Whatever. And so I didn't make top agent, individual agent that year.
We taught mom though.
Well, that was interesting. So then I built a team. I hired my first executive assistant in 2015 as well, whenever I was pregnant. And built a team, had my husband join me, and he kind of became like a buyer's agent to me for my team. And, in 2017, we did 88 transactions for 55 or 15 million that year. And then in 2018, one of my partners, somebody mentor that I looked up to for many, many years, I'd always with him, was Adam Grady. And he was just killing it. He's at Keller Williams. He's one of the top producers. He had a really small team. And he called me up one day and he said, hey, will you meet me for lunch? I think I'm going out of business with my buyer's agent. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, why do you want to talk with me? So I meet with him and he's like, what does this look like if we merge our teams? And he was a team of 6. I was a team of 4. It's not like we were 2 huge teams. And he was like, what if you become, my buyer's agent and you have a team within a team? And we do the showing partner model. And we just put this thing together and just, fly the train down the rails. Yeah. And so after many handshakes and high fives and meetings, because I'm not just an immediate yes, yeah. We merged. So I then became the lead buyer's agent. I then now had a team within a team. And we basically just broke out an org chart. And it was like, my team fit his team and what he was needing. He was needing another transaction manager. I had a transaction manager. He needed another showing partner. If I was going to be a buyer's agent, Justin was my buyer's agent. So it just kind of worked. Justin is my husband. So it just kind of worked as far as like who fit on the bus at that time. In 2017, he had done 104 buy-side transactions. I, within a team, grew that up to, in 2021, we did 264 buy-side transactions with 2 showing partners.
Wow. And so you doubled it. Yeah.
Yeah, doubled it. That was a crazy year. It was really hard. And so, yeah, we will finish 2025. We've got 7 agents in production. We will finish with 455 transactions this year.
Wow. So when you say 7 agents in production, is that the whole group or is that the team in a team and there's still more in production?
So we only have 7 agents in production. So I've got myself, 2 showing partners, and then Justin actually moved over to be my listing agent. So that's how I have a team within a team. 2 buyer's agents living in a house with 3-year-olds doesn't work. You're literally just passing your children back and forth and then negotiating deals. And we decided everything about the team within a team is all about leverage. And if he could take over my listings, I would have so much more time. He would have so much more time, and we wouldn't be, shuffling the kids back and forth. And then, Adam is still in production. And then we've got 2 listing agents. So that's the 7 agents in production. We run more of a team dependent model versus a broker type model. So we have a lot of administrative staff. We have a transaction manager for the buy side, a transaction manager for the list side, a listing manager, a director of administrative services, a marketing director, and then our director of operations.
Yeah. So it makes sense that you're heavy on the foundation and min side to support the other end of it. So
Yeah.
I have 1,000 questions. Like, when you merge teams, what went well and what didn't go well? Like, what was like, oh, we never thought about that. I'm sure, because I even considered it before and looked at that model, but you can never, it's hard to find people who've done it.
Yeah. And that was one of the things I think that I had the most questions about, because I was like, show me another team that's done this so we can go and we can find out what the good, the bad, the ugly. Like, what are the questions? What if we merge and you don't like my husband and I mean, what do we do about all this?
Yeah, that's true.
We basically just took the systems, put them in place, and we were just like, let's just get this train going down the railroad and just fly and just have wheels flying off and find the holes and build the systems.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I'm really, really good at is, I'm a super high D, but at the same time, I'm really, really great at tracking, and I'm really good at fixing things and building systems.
Yeah.
So, some things that would happen was, the showing partner would sit in during the strategy session whenever I would meet with a buyer to find out their wants and needs analysis and ask them 100 questions so I could only show them 4 houses versus, showing them 100 houses because I only asked 4 questions. So, we put these systems in place, and I was like, why am I taking 45 minutes or 40 minutes of a dollar producing activity that I'm now stalling my showing partner from, because he's sitting in this space, and whenever all he needs to be doing is, if he's not showing property, he's not making money. So we would just move some of those things around and make it really, really systematized so that we could have a really efficient system basically on the complete buy side.
Yeah, 100%. And there's 2 things that you tapped on there that, if anyone's paying attention, there's systems right there that Kari just talked about. One was your rate of return on your dollar per hour. I think it's so important. Like, if we're doing, minimum wage items, that our time is more valued other places, I think we need to really pay attention to that and implement it. I know a lot of people sometimes know about it, but they'll still do it, right? So it's got to learning to leverage at the right time to the right who. And
your systems have to change based on the market. The things that we were doing in 2019 didn't work in 2020. The things that we did in 2020 didn't work in 2021, whenever in our market here, multiple offers, no inspections, waiving all appraisals, like all of the things. You're basically just, no inventory. You have to constantly revisit your systems and tweak the things and you need to say what's working that we're doing really well, and what are we doing that we shouldn't be doing, and then constantly changing those systems based off of your market.
Yeah, I agree. We have system meetings probably monthly where we go back. We're like, did that work? Did it not work? And if anyone wants to change something, we're changing it now. And that's been really helpful. And I like the other thing that you touched on was, and this is such a common one, but we often oversee it. How many questions are you asking at that needs analysis? And you said it right. If I'm only asking 4 questions, I'm showing 100 properties. Like, we know you should not show any more than 3. Hands down, it should just be that, because they forget about it. I don't know what I looked at. I'm confused now, right?
Well, and I firmly believe that every time you show a buyer a house that they don't want to purchase, they're losing trust in you.
Yes.
And if you're not pre-qualifying them every single time that you're in a house with them, if it's been a week and you haven't seen them, or, maybe they decided to take a break, you need to be re-qualifying them while you're in the house and asking them questions. Has anything changed, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, during the time that we've spoken last? Maybe somebody has gotten a raise. Maybe somebody's, they're expecting a new one, you've got to ask those questions, because then their motivation changes. And I always say, I want my motivation to match your motivation. I never want to be calling you, texting you, hunting you down. When can you go? Can you go? Whenever you just signed a 6-month lease and you're basically like, whoa, like, I need to understand your timeline. And so you've got to do that whenever you're meeting with your people.
I agree. It's that fiduciary duty. I think sometimes we don't really understand what that totally means as a whole, but I agree. Like, we should have a reciprocating understanding of what you're looking for and how often I'm going to be sending you this and texting you this. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you've went over the merge, you connected lots of phone calls and meetings, and how you managed that was the correct systems and filling in the gaps. So that shows a lot of trust from, it's Adam, right? Adam's
Yes.
side.
Adam
Yeah.
Grant.
So a lot of trust from his side and your side, and the personalities need to match too.
Mhm.
And then how did you manage the teams coming together? Like the realtors of the team within the team and
That's such a great question. I think that's one of the things that I get so much because we have so much retention. The my first executive hire was Kelsey. We've been together since 2015, so 10 years. She's now like basically one of my best friends.
yeah.
And then she brought her friend. She was in property management, so that was my next hire, and that's Courtney. They're still here. So that's one of the things that's really, really cool is that we did have buy-in and we respected each other's teams and we respected each other before we were even, merging together. So,
Yeah.
it was a little bit of like, what if we do this? But every single person that we merged with is still on our team. We do have a couple that left. One relocated to Florida with her family, but we believe in culture so much, and I think that that's one of the things that why we can do such a high transaction count with such a low amount of agents is because our culture is so important and we protect it very, very closely. It's very much whenever I'm like, hey, we need another showing partner, it's oftentimes a pushback of who we have in place because they're like, you know what, I want more and I can handle more and I want more capacity. So we always have to have buy-in from everybody before we bring anybody else in because we
Yeah.
just want to protect our culture because we're so
Yeah.
we're so close as a team.
Right. Yeah. Well, it takes one negative Nelly to pull everyone else in.
Definitely does. Yeah,
Right? Yeah. That's
definitely
funny.
does.
So, okay, so we've gone through the merge and, the team's on board. And then how did you choose the setup? Who is the listing representative and then who is your buyer partner? Like, how did you, like, you kind of talked already about, you each pulled from each other's skills. So
Mhm.
did you already have that planned or did you meet people and then assign them or how did that work?
Sure. Great question. So when we did our merger, Adam had already had a buyer's agent and he had a showing partner. So that was kind of something that I just kind of swooped into
Yeah.
and learned, how do we balance this and how does this work out and everything else. When one of the showing partners went off on her own, she wanted to be an individual agent. We have an ISA team. So we've got 4 ISAs and he was an ISA. He had moved from California, and he was really, really great on the phones. And he is still, a showing partner. He's actually a buyer's agent now because he's leveraged me so much and he's done so much business and he's learned so much that, I basically have a showing partner right now and a buyer's agent. So he negotiates a lot of his own transactions, handles a lot of the client and agent interfacing, which is what I was doing from the very, very beginning. Whenever that's a 30, 60, 90, I'm handling the client, I'm handling, the agent interfacing, and the showing partner's really just there to show houses and just, get them in the doors that they need to. So, I mean, that's one thing too. I mean, he's been in that role for 3, 4 years, something
Yeah.
like that. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Kind of leads me into my next question. If could you describe, what the showing partner and the list side is, and maybe what those expectations are as you merge into a team within a team and partners too. Like if people were listening and didn't really know what those were or what they do, could you help
Yeah.
clarify that?
Sure. So, I mean, our team does run a little bit different because we believe in specialists
Yeah.
and we believe that the buy side needs a fiduciary and the list side needs a fiduciary. And can we transition and jump into either ones? Yes. But most of us, we want to just kind of stay in our lane and we
Yeah.
want to do it with the best customer service that we possibly can.
Mhm.
Same with on a transaction manager, we have a buy side and a list side. It just runs more efficiently whenever we can just know everything and run with that one role and stay. That's our 20%, which is why we
Yeah.
can do it really effectively and really high efficient. The two listing agents, they came on in 2019 as listing agents, and they very much want to list properties. They are masters at expireds, for sale by owners, and all of that conversation and scripting that they are. And even on the buy side, you oftentimes find people that are like, I just love to work with buyers,
Yeah.
And so I think that that's what it is we've hired for the role. We don't hire ISAs that want to become an agent.
Yeah.
Our ISAs that are on the phones, they don't want to be an agent. They don't want to have hard conversations. They don't want to read inspections. They don't want to work nights and weekends and go meet people on a Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. They want to be on the phones. And so I think that that's why our system works and our model works, is because Bo doesn't want to be a listing agent. He doesn't want to go, sit with the for sale by owner and have conversations about commission. He wants to go do the high fives and hugs. And that's typically what it is. Now, 2021, there was a lot of tears for a lot of buyers. In 2022, I get it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's really, really a fun experience. A lot of times people are buying because of fun things, right? They're getting married, they graduated, they're relocating, maybe they're downsizing and they're excited about that. So yes, we have to deal with the debt and the divorce and some of those hard things, but a lot of the time, the buy side, we always say buy side, best side, it's fun.
Buy side, best side. It's true though. I know what you mean. Yeah. I love how you describe that, because we have realtors in our team too who say the exact thing. I just love working with buyers.
Yeah.
Right. So how did you
love your buyer?
Yeah, everyone loves buyers. It's fun. They too take double the amount of time though as a list side. Right.
Why we do a strategy session. So we're not showing houses and we're not wasting everyone's time. So slow down the process to speed it up.
So I love how you separate, your skills are buy side, your skills are list side. And can you go over what does a transaction manager do? Because I imagine you have your executive admin, your transaction coordinator, but the transaction manager, so they checking in on the list and the buy sides and making sure the T's and I's are crossed?
So our transaction managers, they handle everything from contract to close. So, that was really great just because we were seeing, something would get missed on a settlement statement or something, when they were going back and forth. It just helps systematize it to make it more efficient. Our transaction managers write all of the contracts. We have a template. So whenever we're out with a client, they want to write an offer, we put it all through a text template. They write the offer oftentimes before the buyer's even home. It's already in their email. So it's really systematized and efficient system. They also, she took off inspections on me, which was a really, really big one. And even, sometimes now she'll pull me in and be like, hey, I need some help with this inspection or the wording or something like that. But we basically built a template, because once you read 300 inspections a year, you see the same things on there. So we just built templates on exactly how we want them worded and said. So it's just kind of more of a plug and play.
Yeah. We have a whole document. It's 110 pages of all the clauses and conditions we kept, and we just reuse them for what makes sense, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then, just any final documentation or anything like that. And then they go to closing. So,
yeah. And then what's the liability on that aspect if the realtor itself isn't writing it? Are they submitting it, or is it through your office only and not the actual realtor?
So everyone on our team is licensed.
Yeah.
Our transaction manager, our listing transaction manager, she has a broker's license as well. So if you're on our team, you have to be licensed. So that's not an issue. And then we have canned emails that go out that we basically wrote that, she sends the email with the offer. I make the phone call. I send the text, with the offer details. And then we're basically please find the attached offer. Our terms are as follows. Kari will be reaching out to you if you have any questions. But I've already had a phone conversation with the agent. The agent's already expecting it. They also receive it as a text and they receive it as an email. So they're very much aware of who's in going to be the main communicator for negotiations.
Right.
But I mean, yes, they are fully able to negotiate or do anything because they are licensed.
Right. And then if you need to do an amendment or change the contract and have to write the paperwork again, is that the transaction manager writes it? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're really leveraging every step for that partner model.
This system that we've built is all about leverage. And, we even are trying to leverage, our transaction managers a little bit, because we'll add like a VA or something to do some of the back CRM, data entry, CSU, or, so we've got trackers. We're like Excel spreadsheet. I mean,
oh, I know, they're everywhere.
So, a lot of times the VA will go in there and put it like how much we put under contract for the week, who is selling, who is buying, and then put them on all of our trackers.
Right.
So, we try to leverage them to give them as much, keep them in their 20% as much as possible too.
Yeah, that's amazing. So would you say you have a higher retention for your realtors? Because like when you come onto your team, are you feeding them leads and deals too, or are they getting their own deals and leads?
So with us having an ISA department, that's an inside sales associate. We do outbound calls too in a TCPA friendly way. But yes, I mean, ideally, we're getting a ton of leads coming in. What we found over the past 18 months is that the leads that were coming in like they were in 2021, 2022, that obviously has changed. So we strongly encourage all of our agents, to lead generate, do tons of open houses. So their sphere, but they get higher on their sphere because they'll get like the referral fee, the 25%. So they'll get that up front. But no, I mean, if we can get sign calls and PPC leads, online leads, social media leads, those all go to the ISA department, and then those are funneled to us. But each agent, obviously, we all have a pretty good sphere at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense. So do you have a lead protocol at all? So if an ISA assigns, I imagine it's an appointment to one of your realtors and they're not able to make it, what happens then?
If they're not able to make it, I guess I don't understand the question.
Yeah, so if the realtor's not able to manage the lead.
Yeah, that doesn't really happen with us. So we, from the ISA department, they basically round robin. We do not cherry pick. So, list side, it goes Colton Curtis, Colton Curtis, Colton Curtis. Unless somebody calls specifically for Adam. Adam deals with a lot of builders, and then his sphere. And then for the buy side, it is round robin as well. And so if for some reason, like everybody can see our calendars, like if I pulled up my calendar, you'd be like, whoa, because I have, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 people that I keep in my calendar every single day, but they just basically look. And if somebody already has something booked and that person can only do 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, then it would go to the next person and we would switch them. The other thing that's really great about the team is that if we ever have any pushback because of a personality, right? Like, somebody may not vibe with that agent, we can switch them over to somebody else. And so we've seen that happen a couple of times where, someone's just like, they're really direct and they're really, really strong. And I need someone that's a little bit more soft and compassionate or more patient. We have an agent on the team that would be a better fit for them. So that's kind of a benefit that we kind of, push out there. That's like, we've got someone for everyone.
Yeah, it's true. We go through it too. Sometimes they're too direct, like you said. That's the most common one where we, okay, we'll give to this person and then they're next on leads. Yeah.
Yep.
100%. So does the split change on the list and buy side for you then?
So it depends. And I would say that if you're a showing partner, your split is going to be different because I'm paying you a salary and then I'm the one that's, talking to the clients, talking to the agent, writing the offers, negotiating the deal and everything else. The longer that you've been on our team, the more the split changes, which is why Bo is a buyer's agent because his split has completely changed. So he's basically, the same split as the listing agents at this point. I've got a showing partner. He's been with me. He's newer, but we've changed his split one time. And the more leverage that is given, the higher the split will change.
Which makes sense, yeah. So is a buyer agent basically showing properties and connecting with the client to the point of when they're ready to write an offer, and then the transaction manager helps step in?
So the transaction manager never really talks to the client about the offer. The agents do that. So whenever if you're in your 30, 60, 90, basically, if they want to write an offer, then there's a 3-way call. They put me on the call and then I am doing the three-way call with the showing partner and the client, because we want one language, one company. I want the showing partner to learn how I am talking about the contract, how I am explaining the contract, how I'm explaining contingencies, and making sure that the buyer understands, everything about the contract, and then also hearing their questions and how I'm handling those.
Yes.
So for a long time, it is a three-way call, or they're coming into the office and we're writing it together. But it's all about educating the showing partners so that they can learn to do that. And then it's always really fun whenever, I'm not available or something, or, something they can't get me on three-way and I can hear, and all of a sudden you hear that agent talking and saying and speaking the way that we would on our team here at Grady. It's just awesome. And the success through other people with the team is probably my most favorite thing, is just hearing and seeing all of them succeed and what they've accomplished. It's the best part.
It is rewarding when you're thinking, oh my gosh, that coaching paid off. Right? That script and that role playing that you fought me to do.
You're listening. It's great.
Yeah, it's great. So what's the next steps in your team, and where are you heading to? And I had one person be like, ask, what was your fear? Like, what's the new ceiling of like the uncertainty, even though I know you're going to go for it?
So I would say the big thing for fear for me whenever we did the merger is that our business is so ego driven, right? It's our face on this, it's our this. And I remember whenever I did the merger, even my mom was like, why would you do that? Like, you're giving up your name to be on a team. And I didn't care. Like, I had 3-year-old twins. I needed leverage, and I knew that Adam and I could do something really, really amazing. So that was a big fear for me. I would say now the fear is just letting anybody down. I've moved into a director of sales position, and I'm also the lead buyer's agent. So I meet with all of the agents and do their 411s every other week. So hearing their successes is always really, really fun. I am like one of those, like, I don't always have to win. I just hate to lose. And so the feel of the fear of maybe failure, or, that I'm not helping or moving the business forward or guiding the team in a direction, I would say that's always, something on me. Coming to the end of the year, right?
Yeah, it's true. Well, I think
first,
all leaders feel that, right? You're like, I have to get up every morning and show up for my team no matter what. Like, we don't get sick days. Like, we do, but we don't. But like, we figure it out,
Yeah, I'm so thankful and blessed to be on this team and have their leverage that we have. And so I would just say that, like, every year I'm like, how do we do it again? How do we do it better? How do we make it better for our clients? How do we have a better client experience? What more can we add to make people feel how important that they are, and that the families, they're not transactions. We do so many events for our clients, and it's always our favorite, time of year to give, hugs and high fives to our clients and see them and hear their stories. So, it's
important. And then where do you feel like the next year is going to bring? Are you looking for more realtors? Are you kind of going to stay pace, or what's the plan there?
I actually was talking to my coach about this yesterday, and I feel like in the past 5 years, it has been a roller coaster here.
Yeah.
2019 is like fine, and then COVID, and then we just have gone through all these different markets. And what I'm seeing and what my thought process is for the next year is stabilization.
Yeah.
And so what I would love to see is our business continue to grow, our team to gain market share, specifically here in our area, and to continue to have the successes that we've had. I basically said, like, if you're coasting and you're doing the same agent count as the year before over the past 2 to 3 years, you're winning, just because the market has just been so crazy. So, for me, stabilization, I think, is really, really important. Rebuilding and looking at what the foundational systems that we kind of got away from for the past 3 years, that used to be, Bible, right? We would have this specific meeting every single time, and we would do these certain things. And that was so important. And it kind of went away because, it didn't matter if you put a house on you weren't having to do these things for listings because it sold in 4 hours with 15 offers. So reminding ourselves of those systems and getting back to that. And then I just want to kind of see that stabilized so that we can keep raising our people up. I can raise Bo up. Hopefully we can get more leads in. We can bring in another showing partner. But we're not really wanting to broker model it out. We don't want a bunch of agents, but I think for us to grow, we're going to need another 1 to 2 people maybe to continue to elevate where this business can go.
Yeah. And to service the amount that each person can handle. Because really at some point there's a threshold and then you leverage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and our agents are doing so well. Like they're like, I don't know that I want to do more,
Yes. Yeah.
So in order to have success through others, or if other people have more goals, like what else do we need to do? And oftentimes if it's not a system, it's a person, and our systems seem to be working really, really well. So it might be a person.
Yeah, that's great. I love how you can end on that. It's systems or persons. It's so true though, right? Because you're right. Not every person wants a cajillion dollars or wants 100 units. Sometimes they're like you when you experience, 3-year-old twins. I just need to leverage so I can sleep at night.
Yeah, 100%. I need help.
Yeah, right? That's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that model. It was very interesting. And if there is one thing you could share with anyone considering that model, what would the one thing be to give them just a little bit of insight?
I mean, honestly, I feel like there's so much information out there now that you can find. I rip off and repeat, like know somebody that's done it before. Find out how you're building that strategy session to, make that system move faster. And then we built out flow charts on like who was in charge when. There's other teams that have done it, and just I would reach out to them and what are the things that worked, what are the things that didn't work, and what are the things that you wish that you could change. But the one thing I do hear all the time is that's not going to work in my area. And for us, our average sales price I think is like $355 right now. Which is not a big average sales price. If it works in our area, I think it can work anywhere.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, 100%. And with the market right now, I'm pretty sure it's similar everywhere. It's the same in some areas. Yeah.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah. If anyone, where could people find you?
Yeah. So you can Google me, Kari Wyrsch, Springfield, Missouri. You can Google Grady Real Estate, or you can find us Grady Real Estate on Instagram. We have a really awesome Instagram page. Our amazing marketing director, Kelsey, makes us look really good. Come find me.
Thanks so much for joining. Everyone, check out Kari, and thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Million Dollar Realtor Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with your fellow agents. Keep pushing, keep growing, and we'll see you next time.